Hello and welcome to another range review. Today we'll be looking at the Daughters of Khaine. Again, no, this is Age of Sigmar, but we are looking at it for the forces of Warhammer Fantasy or for the old world. Could you use any of this stuff? The Daughters of Khaine are the part of the old Dark Elves range that have been sort of refashioned into a new army of its own. So we're going to find some stuff that can be used and some stuff that was in the old Dark Elf army book back in the day. So let's start with the High Gladiatrix. Of course, this would work perfectly fine as a Dark Elf hero. I think you'd, yeah, sure use it. It's still got very Dark Elf feeling. If you want to do a Witch Elf themed army, I think this would be a perfect champion or lord. So go ahead. Next we've got the Shadeborn, who I think are an Underworlds team. This also makes for pretty good heroes if you want to go more of the sort of the assassin way, having the assassin feel. I think this guy's mask is a bit Eldari, but yeah, the rest work perfectly fine. I think they're a good base for it. I mean, yeah, it looks sort of Dark Elfish, but also sort of not. So I think they would work good as heroes, but they do stand out a bit in the army as compared to some of the other stuff that's going to come up. The Doomfire Warlocks we've looked at before in the Sits of Sigmar range review. These guys were made for Warhammer Fantasy. They are going to work perfectly fine. I've got a few of them. They work excellent. They also make another horse riding team. So yeah, they're fine. They work. The Endless spells I think make for great unit fillers. They won't be good for much else. I mean, I suppose you could use this as a Hydra or something, but it's going to look a bit weird. But they would work very well as unit fillers. This in a unit of Witch Elves, I wouldn't mind. But then again, at the price, you could probably just buy more Witch Elves. But if you don't like painting, they make for some thematic unit fillers or possibly a Hydra. And we've got the Khainite Shadow Stalkers, which are these guys again. They might actually be from Warcry and not Warhammer Underworlds. I'll have to look that up. Again, they work perfectly alright as unit champions, or I mean, I suppose you could use them and give them the rules of the Witch Elves if you really hate women in your army. No, but they look Dark Elvish, but I don't know what you'd use them for. There is a special unit, which I can't remember the name of, you could probably, the unit of skirmishers, you could probably use this as. The issue is they have shooting weapons, so only really this guy works in that, but I'm sure you could find a use. I'm not sure what it would be. The Kinarai Heart Renders, I have no idea what you'd use the... Oh, Harpies. Obviously, Harpies. They are as made for being Harpies. A bit overpriced if you want to do Harpies, but to each their own. They have a distinct look that is not Harpish, but again, if this is sort of the aesthetic you want to go, if I had an opponent that came up with those, or possibly the Life Takers, these ones, I'd say yeah, sure, go ahead. Just make sure to put square bases on them. The Sisters of Slaughter are an old Warhammer Fantasy unit, so of course they're going to have, they're going to stack up very nicely. They're going to, work very well as Sisters of Slaughter, which are a unit even in the old world. So the sort of new edition, new game. Just make sure you're careful with the whips. They tend to break. Mine breaks all the time. But yeah, they work fine. And with the same kit, you could build the Witch Elves, which again are also from the old Dark Elf range for Warhammer Fantasy. It's going to work perfectly fine. They stack up, especially with the new bases. They're going to stack up perfectly. They're a good base for a new army. the Melusai Bloodstalkers. So I've wondered what to do with these because they've got a very special feel. They're not, they wouldn't stand out in Dark Elf Army, but they're not like anything from the old Dark Elf Army. So I've wondered, because I have some of them, and I've wondered a bit, what do I do with these? But of course, I made them into Cold One Riders. I proxy them as Cold One Riders, because you can't really use these on their own. That is not going to work. But you could, if your opponent allows you, use them as Cold One Riders, because they would match the speed if you put them on the new base size. That they are the right size for that kind of army. So yeah, they can be used with a bit of trickery. The Bloodstalkers that you can make with the same kit are a bit more difficult. I suppose you could use these as some form of mounted archers. I'm not entirely certain what you use these for. I mean, they look alright. I don't mind the kit. I just don't know how you'd use them. If you've got a use for it, please let me know. But no, I'm unsure what I'd do with that. I'm probably build the other version. The Cauldron of Blood, or the this I suppose the Hag Queen on Cauldron of Blood, but it's the same kit. It's the same kit as the Bloodbrack Shrine. This is a perfectly alright kit. It was made for Warhammer Fantasy, so it's gonna work perfectly alright. You get the Avatar of Khaine as well, which I think has rules. I'm not sure. It's alright. It's not my favourite kit. It's a pain to put together. But if once you've put it together, it's a fair enough kit. It's a pain to paint as well, depending on how you paint it. But if you want to use a Cauldron of Blood, this is a good place to get it. If you build it as some other thing, you get some optional characters such as the Avatar of Khaine, a Hag Queen. There we go. Which I think is the old. Or she is a character which I can't remember the name of, but yeah, some witch elves and the Medusa. So yes, you have a few different options. I think it's a good kit if you're starting a Dark Elf army and you want to go the witch elf direction. We've got the other build option with the Avatar of Khaine and the. Oh, it's really embarrassing that I don't remember her name. I just read a book on her actually. The Bloodbrack Shrine, where you put the Medusa on, which is fair enough. You've got the mirror there. It's a good kit again if you want to go the Watch Elf route. Then you've got the Dawnbringers, Daughter of Khaine, Krethusa's Crone Host. This is the I think this has been newly released for them. It's a combination kit. Both the Sisters of Slaughter and the Riders work fine. This new model, Krethusa, I don't know how you'd use her. You could sort of supplement Morathi for her. I mean, the old Morathi, I suppose that's an alright way to use her actually. You could use her as a person mounted on a Pegasus. Of course, there's no Pegasus, but that would be the closest sort of use to it because she's got the wings, so people would accept she's flying. You could say it's the sort of crows making damage instead of a Pegasus. So yeah, a witch on a Pegasus I think would be the best use for her. If you really like this sort of dark aesthetic, that works. Otherwise, this is not for me, but it might be for you. It's just not for me. The new Vanguard contains sort of the same things, but instead of getting Krethusa, you get 5 of the Melusai Stalkers, and instead of costing, I think, 67, it costs £85. So maybe don't get this one if you can get the other one. I mean, if you really hate her and want to get the snake people instead, go ahead. It's down to taste. I would personally get the other one because it's a better value. But this is going to be around for a while, so if you're looking to start playing Dark Elves, this is probably a good box to start with. The issue is you're going to need a lot of them to build up enough manpower to play Warhammer Fantasy properly. And ending up at Morathi, who was a character in the Warhammer Fantasy lore, but didn't have a model at the end. Or she did have a model, but it was metal and it was really old. This would work great. This smaller version you could use as a sorceress or a lord of some kind, and the large model I think is an excellent dragon substitute. So you could substitute a sorceress on a black dragon for, I mean, the new Morathi model, and just use the exact same rules. I think that would be epic. If you put that on a square base, it's going to look really cool. So yeah, but that's that. It's not a huge faction, the Daughters of Khaine. So that's all of them. If you disagree, please let me know. If I'm wrong about anything, let me know. If you think I'm right about something, please let me know. And otherwise, like and subscribe and let me know what I should review next.